Hello world and welcome back to another episode of Ad Astra, where today we're going to be going further into this mod and reaching further in the stars such as Mars. However, before we get to Mars, let's continue on where we left off by building this tier 2 rocket which you see behind me. With the tier 2 rocket to launch into your next place, you are obviously going to want to bring yourselves to the launch pad and fuel this up and bring some spare buckets, which obviously makes sense, which we have all prepped here. But as you can see, I've got some items in my inventory. Since we have Dash now, we are actually able to get the space station. So before we get to Mars, let's cover that first. In order to get the space station, you're going to need these resources as you see here. Dash, ingots, plates, steel ingots, and iron plates with the quantities you see here. And then all we have to do is simply launch ourselves into space, but just be warned that when you get there, you're obviously going to need the means to return back, but you're going to want a way to actually oxygenate things as well, so make sure that you have your things such as your oxygen distributor and some solar panels, as well as some cables and pipes to basically get everything loaded. We covered all that in the previous tutorial, so check that out if you haven't already. But how about without further ado, let's launch ourselves off. Here we are back in the solar system. Here we can click Earth and Mars. Earth will obviously give us the moon and Earth, and then we also have Mars. We will be going to Mars later on, but for right now I want to show off the space station. Now you do not have to have the tier 2 rocket to have the space station, as all you need is Dash from the moon, so you can do this at tier 1. But just for argument's sake, we are going to do it in the tier 2 rocket, and we're going to do this outside Earth. But as you can see, you can have a space station outside every orbit as you so wish. But anyway, let us go to a space station. As you can see, we are falling down below, and eventually we will get onto our space station here. We use our marker on the left here to show how far away we are as it comes into view. As you can see, I don't really understand how this thing is created with the few resources that we have, but we've got it nevertheless. All we have to do then is just shift right click and we get out. What we should then do is just simply push this and take our stuff back. This is where we're going to be launching ourselves off of, so I'm simply going to place this down here, and then this is going to allow us to obviously get back. Coming down, you pretty much just have this main room. Nothing else really too fancy, you've just got this main room, but you can build and do anything as you so wish, but there is no oxygen here. Be warned, there is no oxygen. This is where you are going to definitely want your oxygen loader, and you're probably going to want to punch your way out of here someplace. Taking a look from the outside, it is quite rather nice. As you can see here, we can expand this as much as we want. What we can simply do is, wherever we want, we can open this up and we can walk out here. We can do whatever we wish, but we just want to make sure that we give ourselves plenty of airlocks in order to get in and out. Otherwise, we're going to have the problem with the oxygen distributor when we get here. So I have gone ahead and made this little setup here. You do not have to have this many solar panels, but I have gone and set up our distribution of air. However, there's a couple of things that I've only just discovered. So for one off, we should obviously have ourselves an airlock, so we do not waste any oxygen distribution. But something very interesting when we have our distributor here. One is with water, because we need an infinite source for our water pump. With water, water turns to ice in a vacuum. So you are going to want oxygenated air before we actually get here. For that reason, you're going to want to bring yourselves a bucket of oxygen, which you can simply get buckets from your oxygen loader. As well as that, cables from the outside, they're going to need to go through a cable duct. A cable duct is simply made with some steel and copper, and this allows you to transfer power through a wall, allowing you to actually have your area be oxygenated. But besides that, as you can see, everything is set up as usual. We've just got these two adjacent, so water can pump directly inside of here with some power coming from outside, and then we have ourselves water. But besides that, as you can see from all the bubbles, we are fully oxygenated now. We just want to make sure that we put this little duct in here, this little bit here first, because if we have this open, this can all start bubbling up, and if we have this out here, then things could really start bubbling out. So we want to make sure that we do have this airlock first, otherwise things can go a bit broken. But besides that, that is everything the space station has to offer by default, so how about we move on to Mars? The red planet. Where it looks like I've lost my spacesuit apparently. We even get an achievement for this, since it's my first time being here, even in the tutorial. Now that we're here in Mars, we have a new goal. The new goal is to get some of this Mars Ostrum ore. It can only be found on Mars. As well as this, we can get Mars ice shards. This is the exact same as the moon ice shards. Now there is also a new mob here. This is the Martian Raptor. And now these guys, when you kill them, they are going to give you rotten flesh and slime. And they look like this, and they spawn in very large packs. As you can see for the world, we have basically a big barren wasteland. I have flown around a little bit now and haven't actually been able to find any structures, so I don't believe there are any. You can get some of this conglomerite, which is purely just a decorative block. sand. This sand can be turned into glass, and then we have basically loads of snow. If we go underground here though, we can see that it doesn't take too long to actually find ourselves some of this Ostrum ore. It is at a relatively high level, as you can see, and it's pretty abundant. And just behind me you can see how raptors spawn in massive packs, so make sure you don't get harmed by them. Now, besides that, there's nothing really here. I mean, you could do some cool things here, I suppose. Obviously, the only other thing to say here is this is a planet that does need oxygen as well, so if you took your helmet off, you would start dying. So, besides that, let us head back home after you've got loads of Ostrum. Now, the cool thing here is because we're coming back from a different planet, we're actually landing in a slightly different place, which is pretty interesting. Now that we've got plenty of Ostrum ore, we can process this to make ingots and then make plates, and this is where we're going to get a few upgrades. Firstly, the main thing you're going to want to get is the Netherite spacesuit. The Netherite spacesuit is required in order to get to the later planets, unless you have plenty of fire resistance potions, as Venus and Mercury are both capable of being got to at tier 3. However, they are extremely hot planets, so you are going to need either fire resistance or this spacesuit. I recommend this spacesuit. As you can see, it's made with full Netherite gear, as well as plenty of Ostrum plates and a handful of dash plates as well. Despite when having the full kits of having permanent fire resistance, you also have more general resistance made as well. Another direct upgrade is the Ostrum fluid pipe. This allows you to basically transfer 156 buckets or litres per tick instead of the usual 128 that you have with dash pipes. However, there are some new machines. The first one is the Cryo freezer, made with a Ostrum tank, which is simply made like the other tanks but with Ostrum plates, Ostrum blocks and ingots, and this will give you the Cryo freezer. The Cryo freezer needs to be powered with either a coal generator or a solar panel, and this is going to allow you to actually use all your processed ice shards, which we do by simply smelting them, from our previous two planets, the Moon and Mars. This allows us to turn our shards into cryo fuel. Cryo fuel is a much more powerful version than regular fuel, as it only requires one bucket of cryo fuel to launch your rocket into space, and then you'll just need one to get back instead of having 3 buckets of regular fuel. It's also a lot easier to get because you are able to use regular ice as well. You get a lot less, it's 1-to-1 when you use regular ice, but when you use a ice shard it gives you 25 millibuckets instead of 1. However, as we can see in cold planets, when you place down water in a cold planet you generate ice, so you can farm this up. You can use also packed ice and blue ice as well, respectively, in this cryo freezer. The next block, which is very, very expensive, is the Energizer, made with some blocks of Ostrum plates, a diamond block and a diamond. This is essentially going to be your battery. Here we have got one powering slowly over time. This has been going for a little bit now, and I simply just have the coal block generator next to it. Now, when you right click on it, it doesn't have a UI, and currently inside the mod there is no way of actually powering anything itself, because inside of Ad Astra we don't actually have any sort of power based tools at the moment. This is still an early mod. But if we were to use other mods, here we have a battery from the power mod. If we slap this on here, as you can see, it does start charging it. And the one other thing as well is that when you break the Energizer, it does retain its power as well. So this is a good thing to have maybe when you're starting off on the space station, because so instead of needing solar panels and having to go outside and trying to get oxygen situated, you wait until the Energizer first to then make it a little bit easier on yourself to start off with. The last tool we have is the oxygen sensor, made with an observer, redstone lamp and an engine fan. This is a very, very simple block, as it generates redstone energy when oxygen is detected. Obviously we are on the Earth and oxygen is detected. If I place this down, you'll see very quickly there is a little blimp of red. That red is basically, when this is red, it will tell you that there's no oxygen around. So you could use this as some sort of alarm system in your space station or on the moon to show when oxygen has ran out and you need to get it sorted quickly. But besides that, how about we make the tier 3 rocket now? It's made, as you probably guessed, the same way as the other ones. All we need is the upgraded tanks, which we've already shown, the Ostrum engine, which is the exact same way except with Ostrum plates. Then we need some Ostrum blocks, a rocket nose cone and 4 fins, and this is going to allow us to go to the next planets. Inside of here we've got ourselves a launch pad and an extra cryo fuel, and we're going to launch with only 1 bucket of cryo fuel because this does not need to be fully recovered. We also do have our lovely little Netherite spacesuit on, which is 100% of oxygen, and you're also going to want some tools as stuff to survive while we're there. But without further ado, how about we launch once again? Here we are back at the solar system, and now as you can see we have Mercury and Venus. You can go to either one of these. I am going to go to Venus first because technically it's a little bit closer and it's slightly cooler than Mercury, but as you can see we are getting hotter now. So let's go to Venus. Again, we can go either to make a space station here or we can fly straight there, which is what I'm going to do. hell away from home. Here we go. As you can see, there is a lot of stuff here. It's very, very burny. Very, very burny. So let's break this, collect our things, and this is where we're going to be now. So here we have got some blackstone basalt and infernal spire blocks, which I do not believe actually does anything. No, it doesn't actually do anything. Now, the main thing we are trying to get here is calcite. Sorry, not calcite, calorite. The other thing as well here is we do have some new mobs is we have moguls. When slaying this mob, they drop ourselves some leather and some rotten flesh. Inferium essence is from a different mod. Going underground, you can see that you do have regular ores as well as your other types, but let's see how long it takes us to actually get ourselves some of this Venus calorite ore. Hello, sulfur creeper. You're something new too. And here we go, we get our first piece at minus Y8, as well as some very large ravines. Also, what I've noticed is that you only seem to get coal here. We don't get any other type of things from Venus. Never mind, it looks like you get Venus diamonds too. And lots of diamonds at that. And gold. This is a lot better than the other planets. Now, as this is a hot planet, do not expect to find ice shards here. There is only going to be for cold planets. But how about we now take a look at Mercury? Quite the suntan. This place is a little bit redder. And just a little bit hotter. Here we go. Almost completely lava. And it looks like we've got some magma cream here as well. On this planet, you're going to be able to get yourself some iron, as you see here. Let's see what other type of ores we can get also. Flying around, it looks like you can only get iron here. I take it at tier 3, you can get cold diamonds and gold on Venus, and iron is your Mercury planet. You cannot, however, get any calorite on Mercury. And back we are once again on Earth, but this time it looks like I'm in a very different location to home. Very far indeed. Now that we're back from our ventures, we should have plenty of calorite refined down into both ingots and plates. From here, there is only really one upgrade, one being the rockets and a third spacesuit. The third spacesuit is going to require the previous tier of netherite spacesuits, as well as all this calorite plating. Everything's pretty much rated in the exact same way as you see here, except at the very end, we are going to need an engine for the calorite space jet instead of just the calorite tanks. This is because this allows us to not only get more resistance and more oxygen, but it also allows us to give us flight, as you see here. I'm wearing this now and it's full of oxygen, but as well as that, it does need a load of energy. This is going to be the first and only item that is going to be required to put inside of Ad Astra, inside the Energizer. So if we go over to the Energizer here, this is where we're going to put our spacesuit into the Energizer and it's going to charge up. It's going to need a lot of time to actually have this be fully charged because, as you can see, it has a lot of energy to be stored. Now, when we use this, obviously, we can use this to breathe, but as well as that, we're going to use this to be able to fly. If we simply hold space, we're just going to fly straight upwards. This is just the basics. When you let go, you fall down. That's it. It's not like creative flight. However, when you do hold space and control, you then go into elytra flight, as if you're being constantly propelled by rockets. So you can go as far and high as you want, just make sure that you pay attention to the battery in the top right to see how much energy you actually have. Besides that, we simply have the tier 4 rocket, and this is made with just a load of cryolite blocks, the cryolite tanks and the cryolite engine, and this is our last and final tier of rockets. How about we do our final liftoff? With the tier 4 rocket, we are able to go anywhere in our solar system that we were able to go before, but now we're allowed to go to new solar systems. Proxima Centauri to be specific. At the moment, there's only one planet here, which is Glacio, so let's head there. For this, we get the achievement Interstellar. Now that we're here, we can see that this place is pretty much full of ice. Now, there's something cool about this place as well, is that you do not actually need the spacesuit, as the spacesuit, oh god, besides the fact that I might die in all this frosted ice, is this place actually has oxygen, as well as a brand new mob, the Glacian Ram. When killed, it doesn't seem to actually drop anything. Here you're going to be able to get yourself some permafrost and glacier stone. That's not actually going to be able to do anything itself, however, and there are no custom ores here, just all the vanilla tape ores on this planet. The only type of thing you can really get is ice shards, as this is obviously a cold planet. But for now, guys, that's actually going to be everything when it comes to the Ad Astra mod. I know it was pretty quick. I mean, there are some couple of different miscellaneous things that I want to cover just now. One being all these globes behind me. These globes, they don't hold any function. You get them either by going through dungeons or by completing all of the different achievements in the game, and you should get a globe. And then when you collect all the globes, you actually get an achievement called Challenger, which is pretty cool. You can't do anything with these. They're purely decorative, but you can spin them. As well as that, there are all these different types of doors that you can get inside of Ad Astra, which are pretty cool if you want to make a cool space base. Each made out of different materials. I've broken things up there. And there are a couple of mods that we didn't find. We have the zombified Prigro, which basically is a piglin. We have the ordinary sort of Prigro. Don't really know what the Prigro is for. And also baby ones. And then we have the brute type as well. We also have a zombified mogul, which apparently they fight each other here. That's pretty dangerous. We have the Lunarian Wandering Trader, which you're only really going to get on the moon. And then the last guy we have is the Starcrawler, which I don't really know what this guy is or what planet he's from. But besides that, everyone, that is the end of Ad Astra and the end of this tutorial series. A very, very quick one there was. But that means we're going to be covering a new mod in the next tutorial. I'll be leaving a poll in the community tab on the YouTube platform for you guys to vote what you would like me to cover next. And if you haven't already, join the Discord. It's a wonderful place for us to actually talk to each other and help each other out with all these different mods, because we've covered quite a few of them now and people often need help. But if this video helped you out in any way, shape or form, guys, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And ring the bell button to stay notified when these videos go by. But until next time, guys, take care.